All right, and let's hit it. What is up, internet? It's Rymar here with another episode of Critique. We've got a squad in-house today. We've got the one and only Joe Krug. He's here every week as a co-host, but today our two guest judges are Mr. Webflow himself. I know he loves it when I call him that. Mr. Nelson Abalos, who is gonna make some kind of funky entrance. I'm not sure what he's doing in the background there, but Joseph Barry is also in the house, award-winning designer, jurist for the actual awards website. Actually, I'm going to give you a second to say hi, Joe, and plug your course, because you've got a course coming up here, right? So I'm going to give you a second to say hi, then we're going to go to Nelson real quick, and then we'll get the show started. So let's go full screen on this for a sec.
Cool.
Whoops.
Nice. Hello, guys. Hope you're all well.
Hang on one second here. I'm doing this backwards. Main shot. Okay, there we go. All right.
Cool.
Go for it, Joe.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, sweet. I'm sure all of you are probably aware. I'm finally doing that course that I've been talking about for some time. And support from the Webflow community and even the design community has been fantastic already. I'm up to nearly 500 sales on the course already. So thank you for anyone that's watching and that's purchased the course. I'm pretty blown away. So, it's underway, and hopefully I can get something out to you guys in the next month or so. So look forward to sharing that with you.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. We're looking forward to your feedback on the critique sites. And now we'll go over to Nelson, Pixel Geek. What's up, bud? He's got the little entrance set up for us over here.
Hello.
That's an entrance.
That was the most SpaceX entrance I ever saw, man. That was good. That was nice.
Landing softly like SN15. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm honored to be guest hosting right beside and I'm just going to call it now. This is your new nickname, and you need to change it on your Twitter profile. Joseph Barry is the James Bond of the Webflow community. The animations are so slick that he does. It's so clean, and it makes me so jealous because every time I look at his projects, I'm like, I flip my table and I'm like, why can't I do this? Why is it so clean? What? And so, and you're from the UK, so it just makes sense. And hey, look, your initials, JB, James Bond, coincidence? So,
Nelson, I think you're onto something here. Your design conspiracy theory. So, all right. Well, there you go, Joe. Do you want to say hi to anybody real quick here? Say a little quick hello before we get into the first website.
Yeah, I'm ready to do this. First guest judge experience. Let's see how this goes.
That's right.
Very, very happy to be surrounded by such talent and experience. So yeah, let's start reviewing some sites.
Okay, so the first website is going to be a website called Overflow Designs. And all these sites, okay, I want to say something real quick. Last week, we had a comment by somebody in the audience that asked if our websites were submitted by the audience. And I said that we kind of went out and picked them ourselves. And I started thinking about that a little bit later. And I read between the lines of what I think that comment meant. And I think what that person was trying to say is, hey, we're out here watching this. We'd appreciate it if you're critiquing our sites, as opposed to just going to pick the most beautiful Webflow sites on the web to critique those. And so we heard you, and we're going to focus more on the websites submitted by the audience. And so all the websites today, except for one, have been submitted by the crowd. If you'd like to do that, Rohan will maybe share the link in the comments. So this is a site called Overflow, and we'll go ahead and push 5 minutes on the clock. And who's going to walk us through this one? Nelson, I'm going to put you on the spot. You wanted to be the first.
Okay.
Yeah. You wanted to be
Okay,
raw,
here we go.
authentic thoughts. So here you go.
Yeah, raw, authentic thoughts. So, I guess you're going to be scrolling for me?
I'll scroll and move through the site. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm scrolling on my own as well. So the first hero row, I'm like, okay, cool. Makes sense. Like it, very clear call to action. But as I scroll down, whoa, what just happened? It brought me into the UI, and I love when people do that. It gives me that surprise and delight, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like it. And then we're getting more into the content. I love the type, the web font choices, the combo with the serif and a sans serif. It gives me a very Figma feeling with all these shapes and whatnot. And when I see someone doing angled sections or different types of breaks between each section, it makes me happy, because like just having a regular horizontal line, it's like, okay, cool, but let's do something different. And as I go down, oh wow, the bar graphs, that's really cool. I like that. And yeah, everything's just smooth, and the white space, the negative space, yeah, just all good. So this one, so far I give it a thumbs up to it.
Nice first impression there. Joseph, do you want to share some thoughts about the site here?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things here. Maybe I agree with Nelson. It's been put together really well. I would probably just look at some more consistency based things. So I'm noticing that some icons, like they're really thin, the style of them. But then as we scroll down, if we just scroll down to the next section, you see how these ones become really chunky. So there's a bit of an inconsistency there with that icon style. So there would be like some small details that I would probably look for. Try and making them icons feel like a family or a set. But yeah, I think everything that Nelson said, the spacing's good. I like some of the animated icons as well. They're pretty sweet. Them ones just there where you are on your screen. Yeah, these are really nice. I really like these, I think.
But again, they're a completely different style than the other icons, right? They don't care.
Yeah,
so going back to the consistency
I think,
feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's just having that kind of overlook of all of it. Does
that typically come? Let me ask you a question, Joseph. Is that typically because they're pulling icons from like a kit somewhere versus designing them, or why? What causes the inconsistency in the icons?
So obviously, when you're looking for icons, it's really just about making sure that you look for the style that you're going to run with, and trying to make sure that every icon that you find is the same. And I know that can be a tricky job. So that would be one way of looking at it, and just making sure that you just make sure all of them icons are in a similar style. Then the other option is creating your own ones. That's going to be more time consuming, and you're going to need to be pretty good at drawing icons or some form of drawing. So Illustrator, or, as in Figma or every kind of tool. So yeah, I think this is just a small detail that has probably been overlooked, or maybe potentially the icons that they wanted, they couldn't really find. But I still think there's things that they probably could have done to tie them in a little bit better. But I think that's really the...
Joe, the last minute's yours. What are your thoughts here on this Overflow site?
Okay, I am liking this because it's not like every other portfolio site. I see a lot of different elements. I see a lot of different background colors. We see some very interesting accent colors throughout. One thing that is driving me nuts is the inconsistent spacing between sections. If you scroll through the homepage sections, you will notice that there's different top and bottom padding in between each one. And even inside each section, you may have more on top than bottom. So what I'm going to recommend, go through this homepage and make sure the spacing is neat and organized, ideally following some type of global spacing system.
Yeah. And I'm going to point out one thing here too. I really think that's a good observation, Joe, the spacing. I like how he's showing, a little bit of the design software in here. I would like to see this unlimited design text disappear, right, a little sooner, right? So right there, get rid of it. Because now you're blocking my view of this visual, and you've already told me that line. So I don't know. I'd like to see that kind of disappear and be a little more fluid. I agree with the rest of what's happening there, but that's the 5 minutes we got to review the site. So Rohan, go ahead and open up the crowd scorecard. Guest judges, this is your first time to vote. We're going to get 45 seconds on the clock. and let's send it. And let's see, if you're following at home, if you're in the crowd, we're looking for scores on design. That means the overall look and feel of the site. How do you feel it's put together? The story is going to be your content and the message, right? What does the website actually say about what's going on? Flair is going to be the stickiness, interactions, you know, the things that really kind of help a website stand out. Usability is how easy is it to scroll and get through a site to, you know, really navigate what's happening on the site there. So, all right, we do not have crowd scores coming in. Okay, we do have crowd scores coming in now. All right, so the crowd is casting their vote. Time is up. We're gonna give the crowd just another section because it seemed like there was a little bit of a delay on getting those crowd scores open. We don't have, wait, something weird is happening. Oh, okay. No. They're just coming in way below. Rohan, just FYI, they're coming in at row 70, not at the top. So they're coming in at the bottom of that chart there. Okay, so let's look at the scores from the judges. As usual, we go from low to high score, and we have a three-way tie here between the judges, myself, Joe Krug, and Joseph Berry all scored the site at a 6.75, and I think we have the beginning of what will probably be a trend today, where Nelson's scores are considerably higher across the board here.
I mean, think about all the time this guy spent on it, and
yeah.
I'm just very empathetic to people. I love people. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's why we love you, Nelson. However, I think you're bringing up the average here. So everything's gonna work out. Everything's gonna work out because we do good math here. The judges average is 7.31. Now let's see. The crowd came in at a 7.48. So we're right in line with the crowd, even with Nelson throwing in a high score there. So we have accounted for this type of moment with our scoring. Not really. There's no sophisticated math here. It's just all averages for a combined total score of this website of 7.35. So Overflow design, nice work there. Good job. Okay, so let's pull those scores. Let's go to the next site. Oh, you know what? We're supposed to share these in the comments. So let's go ahead and share the website. This is going to be the next one here. It's in the comments now. Let's put the URL up on the screen, and let's get 5 minutes on the clock. And I'm gonna walk through this one. This came through this came through in the Webflow Slack channel. I saw it. It looked really dope, and I figured I would share it with all of you. So it's loading here. We're getting this little loading animation, and what you'll see is some beautiful movement across everything on this site. Ooh. The way it opens up, the little interactions there, just super subtle. And this is what I was looking for on that last website. You see how this headline disappears real smooth as you scroll? I kind of wanted to see that on that last website. It's just so much cleaner. You've already made your message. Now let's get to the meat of it. So very wide open here. Everything's easy to read. No wasted space, no extra elements, subtle shapes, outlines, right? So like not casing this with any big container, just this real subtle shape that gives you an outline and some framing on the page. Very nice. Same thing here, right? It's mostly wide open space, except for you've got an anchor on the page with this little color element, these little icons that pop up. Again, not just a simple line. You've got a little flourish in the middle of it, just a little something different, a little detail. We talk all the time about how the details make the difference on this. And so, again, highlighting a key word here. Portfolio section starts showing up. Very similar gradients. So nice gradients that match throughout all the elements. Everything's very centered, very simple. This is just a beautiful site from start to back. Any other thoughts here? Let's go to Joseph Berry first. Second thoughts here.
Cool. Yeah, I've just noticed at the top of the page it's got this like wiggly line thing. If you go right to the header, if you run your mouse on the home page, I think so. You're on a different page now, aren't you?
Let me go back to the home.
Yeah, on the home page, there's like this bouncy thing. I don't know if you even noticed it, but if you just run your mouse over the hero section, it's got this really wobbly, springy effect.
It's very
really,
subtle,
really nice. I really like that. is pretty nice. So yeah, this is where you can see the difference in the consistency here with the spacing. The iconography use is really nice. I do like the gradient. I agree with you, and I like this kind of scroll transitions with these shapes as well as you go through these sections. One of the things, while I totally kind of understand your point about them little lines in the design, development, growth, again, I would just question why is it needed? Don't know. Maybe down below it definitely works on the tab quote section. I think that kind of line with the mark inside makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, I'm really liking this. I think it's super clean. It's really nice. I'm not sure it's groundbreaking, but it's well put together.
Yeah. Joe, any thoughts?
Yeah, I really like this. Agree with everything that's said so far. My top comment is the gradients seem a bit light to me. That when I like to see these colors, I like to see a little bit more contrast, just a little bit more action here. I think the gradients are done really well, and I'd love to see a version that wasn't so low opacity.
So subtle. Yeah.
So that's my only comment here, but I'm still loving it. I think this is a really, really nice site. Great job.
Nelson, final thoughts here?
I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. I mean, I can't add anything more to what you all said. Coming from more of a developer point of view, it's like, yeah, what else can I say? I mean, 9s across the board, right?
So this is where I think it's going to be hard to follow up on, starting at 9s across the board, because now this is what 10s across the board, and what happens if it gets better than this? So Nelson,
11s. Let's pick your spreadsheet.
Yeah, the spreadsheet will reject your 11s. By the way,
we're going to go up to 20 now.
Okay, so let's not spend a bunch more. Oh, look at this guy. Hello, Vincent. I didn't
wait, Vincent's there? Then it is a 10. Come on.
It's a 10.
Cool.
Okay, so let's get we could do this. We could kill the last 23 seconds here, and let's go ahead and Rohan, open up the scoring. Let's make sure that scorecard is cleared out from the last voting round. Let's see what the crowd's got anything to say. The secondary action spacing is lovely. Peter Blanchford, Eric Maia. I like that the cookie consent dialog shows a no option. Most websites make you navigate through customize option even if you want to opt out. Okay. I'll take a shot every time they see clean. Pablo Cortez, that's the drinking game of the century right there. Critique, just watch the show and every time we say something is clean, the audience drinks. So all right, so scoring is open. Crowd scores are coming in. Let's get 45 seconds on the clock. Judges, let's cast your votes. Let's see. So once again, we're looking for design, story, flair, and usability. Audience, I see the crowd scores coming in on that. So let's see, design on this site. Okay. All right, so remember, design is the overall aesthetic, story is the messaging of the website, flair is interactions, stickiness, what else is going on with the site, and the usability is how easy is it to navigate, to get around, to move throughout the website. Is it accessible? Is it easy? Those are all the things that we're looking for in the scoring. And go ahead and close that sheet up. Rohan, we're going to bring up a little hero section here, and just like we do every time, we'll go from low to high. Joe, okay, so Joe, you scored this about the same as the last site. That's a 6.75. The next score is a Joseph Berry. Okay, so both the Joes are coming at this site just a little harsh today. All right, I feel that. All right, I was next at an 8.25, and this is what I don't get, Nelson. How do we get to an 8.75? You actually, so you think the site before was actually nicer than this one, huh? From a design standpoint.
Again, I'm not much of a designer, and then the whole. Hey, the contrast of the gradients. I'm like, okay, I guess I guess that'll influence me. What do I know? So,
Well,
like, why am I even here on this stream?
You heard it here first. Completely arbitrary voting leads us to a 7.69 judges average, which is still pretty close in line with the crowd score of 8.0. So only 0.4 of a point separating the crowd and us, which means, we're doing okay here, y'all. We're doing okay for a combined total score of 7.75 on that website. So any thoughts from who else is out there? Anybody else watching the comments for us here? Let's see, from the crowd, from the judges, I mean. Let's see. Okay, Rework is the next one. Rohan, go ahead and close that voting. Who's walking us through this one? Let's get 5 minutes on the clock, and let's make sure we share this URL with the audience. Okay, so this is going to be the next website, y'all. Share it in the comments here. Okay. And there we go. Let's get 5 minutes on the clock. Who is driving this one?
I'll do it.
Nelson. That's probably good. That's probably a good idea. Send it. 5 minutes on the clock.
So, I love sites that show humans first, especially if it's your own site and you show yourself. To not hide behind type or design, but just to show who you are. I love that. The fact that he added a waving hand if you hover over him, and waving hand interaction, that's pretty cute. But then it becomes very basic after the hero row. So as well as the story, because when I think of story, especially when you're trying to tell people who you are, what I believe is that people want to work with humans. People don't want to work with portfolios. And just saying, hey, I'm such and such, I do websites, so does a lot of people. But what makes you unique? And so I'm trying to figure out what that story is right out of the gate. And probably a lot of people hide that story on the About page. And when I'm looking at the About page, then I see more about this person. And he has a part in the About page. It's like, I love making things look good. But why? What makes you excited? And he says, I love being able to bring new designs to life. And it's like, okay, cool. So, I mean, stuff like that should be on the homepage. But everything below the hero becomes very basic and not much flair. And as a non-designer myself, I know it's hard to add flair, but add story. If you don't have design, add story. And your story, your unique story about life is what will make you stand out. So that's my jam.
Yeah, this seems to me like he spent a ton of time on this hero, like you said, and then kind of mailed in the rest of the site. The thing that jumps out to me is the spacing here, where you've got 4 columns on this section, and then you've got 4 columns here, but then the spacing is kind of just awkward. And so it seems a little just unfinished, a little unrefined. Even these sections, these little hard color shifts here, some of these I was watching earlier, and they just scroll too fast for me to actually see what's going on. So that would be like a criticism of these GIFs, is like, I think I can't really see the website when you scroll so fast through it. And there was one other thing at the top that I wanted to point out here. There are some nice little interactions, right? Like this little hover thing and the menu when you cover over the Rework menu here. But this is awkward to me, this little squared around corners and the transitions. There's no like, you should put a little, fade, a little transition on these color change, just so it's not as abrupt. Those would kind of be points that I would stick out there. Joseph, any thoughts on this site here?
Yeah, I think all agree with what you guys are saying. Yeah, it does start to get a little bit basic down there. I think what I would try and do is try and look at some variation in them lower sections. And I'm also finding it a tad wordy in places, and I think that's where maybe some of the bloatedness of it is kind of having an impact. With these kind of things, I always think if you're showing a portfolio, try and keep it short and sharp and to the point, really kind of drive the message quickly. so you can get into that work and explore, because we know a lot of users don't read paragraphs of copy. So cut down on that, look for some variation, tighten up that spacing, and just try and tidy it up a little bit, I would say.
Yeah. It'd be good to see a little variation in the backgrounds here, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll start in this section. So I do like this colored background. I agree, a different color background would do really well here. I also think you need to extend that browser window design. We have the little browser bar on top, and it doesn't really follow the rest of the screen. And now we have your website clashing with this yellow, but yet that website may not have yellow as a brand element. So we have this mismatch of design styles. I think if you put a little bit more padding or browser design to that work, it's going to look a lot better. I also think this work needs to be bigger. We have all this text on the page, which people don't really care about, and what they want is this graphic. So this graphic should be big, the text should be small.
Yeah.
And icons. We have the so what do I do and the how it works. These icons are totally mismatched. The Webflow development and WordPress maintenance, these are just screaming at me, change me. Either change it to line icon or change those line icons to something more solid. The mismatch of the icons is really bringing the site down for me.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Okay, that's 5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and, Rohan, go ahead and open up the voting and clear that score sheet. Let's take a look. The name Rework makes noise. I'm not sure what you mean there, Carlos. I appreciate the hierarchy, though. Babas, that's a good thought there. Daniel Epro, damn, 4 goats of Webflow. Love it. We thank you for the love. Let's see. Okay, 45 seconds going on the clock now. Judges, cast your vote. So, as always, we are looking for scores on design, the story of the website itself. Flair is, as we talked about, interactions and stickiness, right? Does the site draw you in? Does it pull you, does it make you want to spend time there? And then usability, lastly, is how easy is it to navigate or get around the site? Go ahead and cast your scores on a 1 through 10. Crowd scores are coming in. Judges' scores are coming in. And Nelson found his backbone. Scores are coming in strong here. All right.
I'm all about that honesty, man. Honesty.
Let's start out with the lowest score, which is Nelson's today. So on this site, is a 4.0 Nelson. I think this is going to be our redemption story for the week. Every week we have a website that we give an opportunity to do a redemption round. And so this could be the one. So Nelson comes in at a 4. Let's see. The Joes are in line today. So we have Joe Krug at 5.75 and Joseph Berry at 5.75 as well. And I apologize. I skipped over myself. I came in underneath that at 4.75. So that gives us a combined judges average of 5.0. The crowd was a little bit harsher than us in general. So the crowd comes in at a 4.35 for a total combined score of 4.92 for the Rework website. So there you go. That is the Rework website. Let's go ahead and close this down. This next one is going to be a little bit of fun. So let's get that up on the screen. Let's close this out here. I don't remember who's walking us through this one. Do we have that assigned, or is this one yours, Joe Krug, maybe? Oh, no, Dodgeball. I can walk through this one.
This one if you want.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Joseph. Go for it. Let me pull the scores.
All right.
Get 5 minutes on the clock whenever you're ready.
Cool. Sweet. I'm just going to reload. I'm just reloading it just to have a look at. Yeah, the first intro animation. Yeah, the delays for me are a bit too long. And again, this is something that I'll definitely be looking at, is how you can make that intro of the elements feel a little bit more kind of smoother rather than just like doom, 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 doom. Also, we've got some alignment issues here at the top already starting off. We've got a left align with a center aligned text. Left align there. And then underneath is center aligned. It's very, very tight to that button as well. So spacing for me is out on that hero section. Moving down onto these other sections, I really like these cutout elements. Maybe you could animate them because you've got two elements there. You've got a background element, and then you've obviously got the element on top. So I think you could definitely animate them in, but I quite like the effect of that cutout. Some nice, again, as Nelson said, a little bit of play there on the kind of transition of the sections, creating them angled vibe. Little bit basic, not too sure there's lots going on here. And again, just going back to some of that spacing on them buttons as well. Not much movement at all, not much interaction. You know, I guess it's serving its purpose for, you know, kind of informational based, but it's not really exciting me at all. It's a very static site that's got just a few elements in it.
It kind of looks like I want more movement, right? It's dodgeball. It's like, get out of the way, you know, and it's like the site just, you know, so I kind of want to see a little bit of that activity that comes along with dodgeball. I kind of want to see the ball flying around and people moving on the screen. A background video would be great here. One of the things I noticed is like these little cards here, it almost makes me feel like there should be more sliding in. So I'm kind of left like wanting a little bit more. They do the same thing here where they have the left aligned cards where I kind of want to pull, right? I want these to move across the screen somehow, or I don't know. I just, and then there's another thing here where like the transition again, the color change, just a little bit of couple milliseconds of fade there would just be a nice smoother, other than that harsh finish. But I liked the images. I like the feel. There's so much potential here to like kick this up one more notch. Nelson, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, agreed. That when you're designing or building for a certain industry, you have to feel that industry. And I've told this to clients of mine where when they're like, hey, are you going to help us out with animations and whatnot? And I always tell them, yeah, I'm going to help you with that, because if I learn more about your brand and the industry you're in, then I can kind of feel it out. When you're thinking about interactions or animations, pro tip, think like you're watching a concert. Imagine like the band you're watching is playing something upbeat and fast, and notice how the cameras, the technical director will switch from one camera to another camera to another camera really, really fast to match the movement, to give the viewers some speed and intensity. And then when things get slower, they don't do straight cuts. They fade, they crossfade between camera angles, and it goes slow when they're doing a very slow song. So for something like this Dodgeball, you can do something like that where, yes, you have the loading interactions with the type, but as you scroll down, like Raymar said, have stuff move. So you can definitely, since that person in the hero shot is already cut out from the background, make that person move as you're scrolling down. So make him move from left to right as if he's in motion and you're playing with that motion. There's so many things you can do with this, and the spacing is kind of off in some sections, but it has potential. Now take it to the next step. Look at, I don't know, motion graphics from ESPN or any other sports network that is popular. So yeah, like Mirko said in chat, rhythm.
Joe, any final thoughts here?
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to add, this site is prime for parallax everywhere. Every single one of these images on top of the blurred background on the home page, these people on the circles, every single one of these needs to be cut out, put in 2 layers, and that needs to have a little bit of motion when you scroll. I think that there should be 2 separate intro effects for both layers, and with that kind of scroll motion, this site goes to the next level instantly. You're getting a much higher voting with that parallax in place.
Yeah, the other thing is some of these images seem pretty low resolution too. So, you know, that just feels a little fuzzy around the edges. But I agree. I think a little bit more movement, a little bit more punch. This one could just benefit from just a little bit of a flair. So Rohan, go ahead and open up the scoring. Let's make sure that scorecard is clear from before. We're going to get 45 seconds on the clock. Let's see. Boom. Let's do it. Judges, you got 45 seconds to cast your vote. Audience, you got 45 seconds to cast your vote. Matt Evans is pointing out that mobile content is different to desktop. They may be using like a different mobile site versus regular website, but that's neither here nor there. 5 minutes to review is up. Now we're scoring. We're looking for design score. So that's going to be the overall design aesthetic of a website. The story is going to be the content and the message of the website itself. Flair, as we talked about, is the movement, the activity, the interactions, the engagement, what pulls you in. And then usability is how easy it is to kind of scroll through, navigate the site, get around, what's the navigation like, all of that stuff. So boom, there we go. Scores are in, crowd score is in, judges scores are in, and as usual, we will start with the lowest score first, which on this website is me. I came in at a 5.25. My biggest thing was the flair here. I really think that this site, while it may get the job done, it doesn't pull me in. And so like, unless I was really looking to sign up for a dodgeball league, it's not going to do it for me. Whereas this site has so much potential there. 5.75, Joseph Berry. Okay, we're right in line there. Joe is just a quarter point above him at 6.0, and Nelson is at 6.25. So stepping in quarter point increments up the board, giving us a judge's average of 5.81. The crowd was considerably lower, a point and almost a half lower than us. The crowd at a 4.36. Wow. The flair, yeah, so there was more in line with, I think, some of those early scores. A combined total score here of 5.52 for the USA Dodgeball site. Another good contender for the redemption round. This would be cool to see this site come back with a little bit of that parallax movement, a little bit of those interactions, updates, maybe just a little bit of time. I don't know if this is a paid project or a personal site or something like that, but yeah, it'd be cool to see this taken to the next level. So, all right, the next site is going to be Liam's Quality Meats, and this was another crowd submission from last week, and I think this is Joe. Is this one you going through this? So yeah, this is Joe.
Yes, Krug. I will be leading this
through on this one. Let's get 5 minutes on the clock, and you're up.
Okay, first look. I am really liking this really beautiful photography. Even if this is stock, if you're a meat person, you like this type of graphic. So this is really bringing my attention in. I love this textured background, that black textured background. If you go back up, something that's really missing for me is a bit more contrast with this call to action button. This is really getting drowned out in that black background with the red text. I think it would be much more effective if you kept the hover state as the primary state. And scrolling down, I'm loving the red background. I think this is a great brand move. This matches the natural color of the meat that we see in that hero shot. So spot on. I think it's really catching the attention. Good for a local business. And as we scroll down, we have this really nice, interesting layout with this very interesting Lottie type movement where we have this animating SVG line taking us through this journey of where this meat comes from. And finally, we get to this wonderful photo, and I'm really liking this section.
Joe's ready to
As we get further down in this, I'm ready for lunch. As we get down in this, I'm totally not feeling this red box shadow. I think this is just not working whatsoever. Get rid of this box shadow. Give me some border. Maybe put this in layers and put that beautiful back texture layer behind this, but you got to get rid of these shadows. And yeah, rest of the site, super clean. I mean, I'm totally liking this. I think it really hits the type of person that's coming to the site. They're looking to pick something up. They're looking for a delivery. It gives me the information. It gives me good graphics. I like this. Really nice.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I like the colors, the interplay of the reds here with the meat and their aprons. Like if we look at their branded aprons here, so they're matching that color. Even on this call to action, I'd like to see just a bit more contrast in general. The buttons kind of do get lost a little bit, but I think this was clever. I really like the little drawing me through the story here. This is that kind of thing where like you're just going to scroll to see where that line ends. Like no matter what is on this page, you're just going to go explore the line. And this is one of those things where like Flare can really bring you into a site. The colors, I don't think these images are stock. These must be custom photos. And we've talked in the other episodes about how much of a difference custom images can make for something like this. And I actually kind of like this little interaction. I agree a little bit, Joe, that the background or the card treatment could be treated a little different here. But I do like the way that they package those things up and go into the bag. So we got a minute each for Joseph and Nelson. We'll start with Joseph. What do you think here?
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good effort. If I was going to get overly picky, I'd probably say on the intro load of that hero, I'd maybe animate all of the elements in, because at the moment it's just the text and then you see the element. So that's where you could definitely put some more emphasis on that button. And if we want to get into kind of more technical terms of that button, generally ghost buttons are used as a secondary, not a primary. So what we need to understand is, like you said, with the contrast, make that a primary button, make that field, because sometimes ghost buttons do be classified as a secondary button. Yeah, with the animations, they're all kind of working. And again, there's some areas that they haven't, there's some animations there and then they leave some. So like the button didn't animate on one section. There's a little line also. So see this line underneath the paragraph, if you just scroll up, Raymar.
Oh,
this line just right underneath this paragraph? You don't need that. Get rid of it. It's a purpose. There's absolutely no need for that line. So I would probably get rid of that. Again, you've got that line in on the meat section. I think there's definitely some things that could be tightened up here. And I think maybe just push the spacing a little bit more. I do find some of the text, again, a little bit tight. I think if you just give it a little bit more breathing space, that will help. Agree with that section on the borderline. Yeah.
So you like the line here? You think the line here?
No.
Okay.
No, I'd probably remove that line under that paragraph.
All right, let's close it up with a few thoughts from Nelson here.
Sorry,
what do you got to say here?
Yeah, I think that the homepage hero row is well done. And I agree with everything that people have said, but I think that they're all stock photography. And the stock photography that's showing the products or the would-be products really meets the quality that the clients were looking for. But a client that is willing to have custom photography is very rare. So as you can tell, you have two different styles.
So you think this is stock stuff, Nelson? You think this is stock?
This is stock.
I think so too.
Okay.
Because look at the photos of the owners.
Super pro.
They're not stock.
Yeah.
And if you go to Dodus, they're not stock as well.
It's a
like,
photo,
yeah. So
yeah. Okay.
But again,
hey,
yeah.
There you go. And we do not know. Okay, this is another see, look, okay. Look at this. They got these nice little touches just kind of scattered throughout the site. Like this is nice. Like
cool.
There you go. Like that's the flair. Again, this stuff will make up for some of the other things, right? Because it's a unique experience. It's not something you expect to see on the site. And so, that piques your interest. It pulls you into the site. So with that, Rohan, let's go ahead and open up the scorecard. Let's make sure that's clear. Let's see what the audience is saying here. Anything on this one? Let's see. I think the text in the 3 cards is too much. Too much text to read that fast. That's a good thought. Melissa Ramirez, photos would look better without a side gradient. Sure. Special meat pack seems unfinished for sure. And then Babis is saying you can see stock photos from a while. I don't know. I don't know those pictures were that bad. Like I would have not presumed initially that those were stock images. I buy the argument y'all made, but I'm not sure I was sold right off the bat that they were stock, right? They were semi-believable. So, okay, 45 seconds on the clock. Judges, cast your votes. Audience, cast your vote. We've got 39 seconds here. So remember, we're looking for design score. This is the overall aesthetic of a site. The story is the messaging and the words, what is the story that the website's telling. Flair is
audience.
What
you need to really grill this designer
this
with your scores. So
just
just got to add one more.
Nelson dropping the puns.
Nelson should drop the puns. Okay, we'll give it that seems about right. Okay, 2 and 1. All right, crowd scores are in. Judges' scores are in. Let's take a look. Starting with the lowest score, who was Nelson. Nelson. I don't understand. How do you start with that first website a 9.0 and this thing's a 5.5? So I don't know. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. Joseph Berry comes in a point higher than that at 6.50. I come in half a point higher than that. Oh, Joe's right in between us at 6.75. And then I came in at 7.0 for a combined judges score of 6.44, which I think is low. To be honest, Nelson, I think you brought down the average there. But the crowd is going to bring it back up with a 7.5. This one. I didn't mean to laugh. Okay, so combined total score of 6.66. Oh, even the number is not good there. 6.66. This is Satan's score on the website. Moving on to the next site.
Moving on.
I'm done. It's over. You guys take it from here. Okay, top challenger. Who's walking us through this site? Is this? Did we get Joseph Berry?
It's me.
Yep, this one's yours.
Yeah.
Let's get 5 minutes on the clock and send it.
Let's rock and roll. Great. Yeah, I'm really liking the intro here. I think the impact on this is quite good, and I love the video in the background. I'm keen to kind of scroll into this site straight away, so that's a great move. And yeah, that first intro opening is really sweet. It's really nice the way that kind of pans into that kind of phone shape. Yeah, loving the impact here. See there's some kind of care taken around the spacing, but I'm liking the font. I really like the gradient they've applied to these fonts. Going down into these sections, really liking this layout, actually. I think this is really nice, and the way that you can actually toggle through the screens in this little tab system in here. I would maybe say I like the scroll zoom, but I do find it a bit intense. Again, this is one thing that I always try and do with my animations, is really try and make them sophisticated. Like it's kind of really big, and I feel like it kind of feels a little bit jumpy because it's so big. So that may be something that you could look and just tighten it up. You know, just a small movement will still be enough to let the users. But I'm really liking the UI style of the actual product. One thing I would maybe question, but you know, this is just a kind of personal thing. There is a lot of different colors going on, like lots of different color combinations going on throughout the page, and that might be intentional. But just from me, from a consistency point of view, I would maybe just look at a set color pattern rather than all these different colors, because we have, you know, different colors on the titles, we have different colors on each of the sections. It might be part of the app or part of the product, so I can't really over critique that. But overall, this is really nice. This is a really nice site, and I think it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and it's all the right buttons for me.
Joe, thoughts?
Yeah, I'll add to that color comments, more specifically around radiance.
It has this image background that's got this tab section. Maybe in between that and the next one, you could do something different, because we've just got the same like repeating layout here inside of different containers. And again, it goes back to that consistency element where I don't necessarily see a consistency between those sections. And so it is a nice effect, but I don't know, some kind of separation there. I don't know exactly what that would be, but just something to kind of delineate these. And again, draw my eye to the fact that I can go through, because I agree with you, Joe, on my first time through this, I didn't see that those were clickable.
Yeah.
So Nelson, any thoughts here?
Yeah, I am, just like you said, I'm not a big fan of scroll jacking. And so from the hero row down to the next section, my scroll was jacked. I don't like that. And yeah, that always is a pet peeve of mine. I should have control over my experience, not the developer. And like the only thing I would add on top of what everyone has already said was that I didn't know this was an iOS app until it got to the very bottom. Like there's no context. Just because it's the shape of a mobile phone doesn't really tell me that it's a mobile phone. Have a background or have a cutout of a mobile phone. Or at least, give it a sense of a mobile phone. You can even make a mobile phone, a basic mobile phone look or border using CSS.
Well, and it could even just be
some...
as easy as coming to iOS, like give me an App Store icon at the top
put the app,
that says coming
there
soon or something,
yeah.
That's a good. That's a good point, Nelson.
And lastly, there's all these fitness apps out there. What makes you unique? So that's it.
Okay, great points, Rohan. Let's go ahead and open up the audience scoring and make sure those scores are cleared out. We will get 45 seconds on the clock, and let's send the votes. Judges, it's time to vote. What are your thoughts, audience? What do you think about that site? Leave your thoughts in the comments here. I really like the big bright palette against I didn't see Peter, finish your thoughts there. Let's see, muted brown background. There you go. Okay, love the large fonts, but confused as to why the top challenger logo is vanilla. Sure, good points, great branding. We got a winner. All right, so just a few thoughts from the crowd on this one. We've got about 15 seconds to cast your vote. So go ahead. We're looking for a design score. We're looking for the story itself. We're looking for flair and usability. All right, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Scores are in. Okay, so let's see. All right, Nelson once again coming in swinging. It looks like hang on, my usability score did not update. Okay, I was gonna say I did not give it that highest score for usability. Okay, so Nelson at a 3.50, really dinging him for the usability. I think this comes from the scroll jacking. I did kind of the same thing there. Anytime you take over my cursor, I'm not a big fan of that. So Joe comes in at a 6.5, and myself and Joseph Berry are tied at a 6.75. I think what spoke to me a little bit was some of the uniqueness of the design. There were some attempts there to do something that was just a little bit different than some of the stuff we've seen before. So I rewarded that. Judges average at a 5.88. So real close to the crowd, literally within a tenth of a point of the crowd. So the crowd comes in at 5.78 with a combined score of 5.86, which if I would have guessed at the beginning, that seemed low to me for this website. Any final thoughts there from the judges? Do you think we got this one right? Do you think we came short here? Like, what do we think?
Maybe a little short.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think it is. Yeah.
That's how the cookie crumbles today. Yeah.
It is nice. Yeah.
Let's see. Remember the time you guys said Nelson would be too nice, cute from the crowd.
Nelson's now dropping bombs.
We're just here arbitrarily scoring sites and having fun. Let's see. We've got 5 more minutes, and we do have one more site. We do have this site that dropped into the who put this one? Who added this to the mix to walk through this?
I did.
Yeah, Joe, you want to walk us through this one? Because this one was just dropped in the showcase and looks real nice. This is joinviolet.com. I'm sorry, I'm slipping on adding the links in the chat, so hopefully somebody's been doing that. But joinviolet.com. 5 minutes on the clock. Send it, Joe.
All right. First look, I'm liking it. We have this very interesting illustration, these very cool movements of these shapes, nice bright colors. This is a good feeling on first look. And as we're scrolling down, we have this nice color change. And this is very creative to me. I love the colors. I love how this feels very custom. And it's very interactive without a lot of movement. If you scroll through this whole homepage, you'll see that all the motion is super simple. They've just put everything together in a really nice way so that it feels alive. One of my biggest issues with this page is this primary white text on the pink background and the yellow background. I think it looks great on the green background, but in pink and yellow, this is drowning out for me. I do not think the contrast is enough. And I know this is a brand decision. I see that the logo is in that same color, but I'm not liking this on the web. I think it only looks good on the green. Overall, love this site. Big thumbs up. Big kudos to the designer, because this is a real nice work of art.
Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, and I totally agree with your points on the fuchsia colours. I don't think that would pass. If you wanted to be technical, double A accessibility probably wouldn't pass that. So you could probably check it, and that'd be one of the things that I would do, check to see if it is accessible. But yeah, I agree. I love the illustrations, the simple movements. I think they're really nice, and it's not over the top. It feels very natural, and it's all around really nice site. And as you can see, it's obviously been submitted to AAW Awards. So from my perspective, would it be a site of the day? Maybe. I don't think it will, but who knows?
All right, Nelson, got a thought here?
Well, this site, well, first of all, shout out to Pablo Stanley, like blush.design. I'm promoting him because what he's doing with easier, accessible illustrations
are these
that are definitely used
illustrations?
On this site. It has to be.
I don't think so, man. I'm not sure. I thought that at first, but I don't know. These are a little custom. I thought that at first, but I think these custom. I don't think these are blush design.
No.
Design and code by Charlie.
Then. Well,
let's see. Design and code by
Charlie.
C. Jackman.
Well, good job, Charlie. I mean, this site, to me, it hits all the right things for me because it's about humans and it's telling a story nicely in a very neat infographic type of way, and it's inclusive. So many different colors. I love the playful style of it, and it's to me, this is one of my favorites of the day.
I thought the same thing you thought, Nelson, and the font didn't help. Right, the font is the same as they use, I think, in the Humans, which is part of that Pablo Stanley like illustrations. So I think seeing these style of illustrations and seeing that, if you're familiar with the design world, you might have connected those dots. But a couple thoughts I had was there's a lot of the interactions here that happen on scroll, and for some reason this like looping interaction I kind of wanted to happen on scroll too. For some reason, it could just be completely arbitrary personal preference there. I love the colors. The color changing backgrounds to me gets a little repetitive here. And I don't know if it's because my computer is streaming at the same time as I'm scrolling, but I do see some really heavy glitching when I get like into this section of the backgrounds. And I just don't know if that's natural. Is it Webflow interactions? Is it just too much going on my computer at once? So I don't know if that's a fair thought. But I do like the poppiness of it. Like this has really unique look. The hard contrast between the colors and the interactions. It all tends to flow real nice. Any final thoughts here before we go into the scoring on this one? Okay. 5 minutes on the clock. Crowd, audience, Rohan, make sure we get that scorecard cleared. 45 seconds. Let's send the scores. Let's give joinviolet.com a score here. Let's see. It does give me a Pablo Stanley vibe with those illustrations. I agree, Milton. That's for sure. Nicholas, overall, very nice. Those lines are awesome. Let's see. Very simple, and sometimes simple is good in this instance. I agree, Jay. Let's see. Ollie, seeing so many sites using the Recoleta font recently. Good eye. Eric, difficult to navigate it with something that's not a mouse, like a keyboard. Don't think that's the best navigation. That's a good point. That's a good point to bring out there. So lots of good thoughts from the crowd here as well. Let's see. Give that a little higher on the story. Get my scores in here. Give that a 9 there. Oh, one more. Okay, boom. All right, so let's go into the scores here. Starting with the lowest scores, we have Joseph Berry and Joe are both tied at a 7.75. I came in just a quarter point higher than them at an 8.0, and Nelson is disqualified. He doesn't know this, but a perfect score is disqualified in when we were doing our testing. I disqualified Sergey. If you watch the preview videos that we did for this, I said we're going to disqualify, just like the judges Olympic scoring committee. You disqualify the highest and the lowest score and set the averages from there. So anyway, gives us a judge's average of 8.37. A crowd came in at 7.79, so we're just above the crowd, but that could be because Nelson threw a 10 at the board. So a combined score of 8.26.
I changed it to 9.99.
9.99. Okay, so a combined crowd score of 8.26. So there you go. That was 7 websites. What are your thoughts here, crowd? Joe? Let's see. Actually, let's get the thought from the guest judges first. Joseph, Nelson, what are your thoughts here? Episode 1 guest streaming of Critique here.
Nelson, do you want to go first,
James? Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, this was very fun. And again, I love what you and the Raymar and Joe, I love what you both are doing for the no-code community. I've said it once, I've said it many times. And this has been fun to interact with the community again. And, these scores don't matter. It's not like anyone's getting any awards nor bragging rights. If anything, if you got a low score, that just means there's another place for you to work towards. And I love that about these critiques, that they're live, they're honest, and empathetic. And that's my whole brand. And I love what you guys are doing for the community and bringing those 2 words to the no-code community. So thank you. And Joseph Berry, you rock. Again, I hate you. You're too good, and and you're selling your course for $25, and it's hard to make a course. So you doing that as well. Bravo to you and all of your successes. I wish you so much luck on anything you're doing going forward. So great job to all 3 of you.
Really? Joseph, drop that link. Drop the link to the course in the chat. Drop the link in the YouTube video chat so that people can jump on that. And then let's get some thoughts from you here. What do you think? First time guest judging critique.
Really. Sorry. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. As Nelson said, it's great what you guys are doing and keep pushing out good content to the gang and making sure that the Webflow community feels like they've got some real big players really helping everyone out. And to your point, Nelson. One of the reasons why I actually put the course together was to really pass on a lot of my skills in how I create animation inside of Webflow. So hopefully people can really, really get under the skin of what I do and understand really how to, as I say in my video, take them animations to the next level. To give you a bit of insight, I'm going to be going over pretty much all of my go-to kind of techniques inside of Webflow. And we're going to be getting into the real fine details. Not just animation, we're also going to be building out stuff as well. So this course, really, for the price of what it is right now, I think there's a couple of days left.
Yeah,
man, you'd be crazy not to get it for the 25 euros or whatever.
For $25, it's a steal. You should do it just because Joseph's a G, and we want to support the Webflow community and encourage other creators to share their knowledge in this way. And so, if you're watching the show, Joseph will share a link to that. And Joe, what are your thoughts on episode 3 of Critique? We don't really have a home for these yet. We don't have a formal home, but we're thinking and working through that. Audience, maybe you can share some thoughts. But Joe, what do you think? Episode 3 of Critiques in the books.
Yeah, big success. I think the guest judge model totally works. So if you're watching out there and you think you want to be a judge or you want to be participating in what we're doing here, let us know. Reach out to us. We're listening. We have people that are dedicated to talking to you about how we can improve this or anything else that we're doing with the community. Yeah. So yeah, Joseph, Nelson, thank you for being on this show, and please come back. I think that we can be doing this and rotating out judges every week, and it could be fresh, it could be fun, and big thumbs up all around for this episode.
We will be doing it again next week.
I thought I was disqualified from coming back because I gave 10s.
Nah, just that one score. Just that one score gets disqualified permanently. I think that's part of the fun. Like, it's like this, just, hey, we're just here to look at, cool websites. If this formalizes over time into something more specific with these reviews, but we're not even tracking, like, the spreadsheet that we use. It's a Google sheet. We use it in real time. It's linked to the scores here, but we're not like keeping or tracking those long-term scores or anything. And so like, this is just about getting together, having fun, hopefully providing a little bit of design and skill feedback to the users of Webflow. And that's it. So let's see. We'll be back next week. We've got another couple guest judges. We've got Leo from Refocus locked in. And let's see, who do we have commitments from? But, Johnny Gomez from Webflow is going to be in the house either next week or the week after. We've got a number. I don't even want to like rattle off the list of designers that we're going to have on the show, but just expect that to keep growing. We'll have Joseph and Nelson back. So the idea is that, once we train the judges a little bit, that we'll have them, actively in the stable of judges and we can just rotate through. So if there's somebody you all would like to see in the audience, let's see, Rohan, can we get the link shared? Apply to be a judge. I think it's in the description of the video. So actually just, if you want, there's a description in the video to apply to be a judge and to submit a website. So that's how you end up on the critique show. We'll see you all next week. It's been real. And anything else from the crowd? Nelson, I'll join you, Nelson, on the dip out, on the slow dip out. All right, see y'all later.
All right.
All right, everyone.